As I've stated, the 23rd of Sivan is a most propitious day because whatever the scribes of Mordecai, whatever the scribes of the king wrote down, were fulfilled on that day. So there has to be a text, a letter. See, it's not oral. It's what was inscribed in a letter, in a book. So this is the idea of the primacy of writing it down in a Jacques Derrida deconstruction mode, is that writing is primary and before oral. And this is a very deep thing. But on the 23rd of Sivan is what you write down on a text, what you want. Now, the 23rd of Sivan comes from Purim. And Purim relates to Pesach, because the first Purim was on Pesach. And so the whole thing here, to me, relates, strangely enough, to the letter Bet. Because there's two of everything. There's oral and there's written, but the primary is the written. You see? Not the Torah. So when you write a text, this level of literacy is a very deep thing. It's a writing down, because you write with your yad. You speak with your mouth, but you write with your yad. And the sense of touch comes from the Yehida world. And the Yehida, the highest world, the Adam Kadmon world, because man is an animal with hands. It's a very strange methodology of communication, to write. But writing is primary. And the other thing that's primary is that there's two of everything. So yes, what looks primary is the oral, but it's not, you see. And this leads me to a very deep issue here. Because since there are two of everything, and there's two Purims, Purim Katan, when there's a intercalculated month, and regular Purim, and then there's a Pesach Sheni, you see, where they believe you get a second start. And this is what again, my long-winded introductions, there's two of everything. You get a second chance with everything. Okay? And with this second chance with everything is the letter Bet. Bet of Bereshis. Remember, there's two worlds. There's the world of Tohu and the world of Tikkun. There's two names. There's Elohim and Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. The Quran starts with the word Basmillah. You know what that means? Bet. Shemala. Two names of Allah. And what are those two names? El Rahman, El Rahman, El Rahim. Rahman and Rahim. We have that in Hebrew too. There's two levels of everything. And in Bereshis, we start with two starts. Start of the circular worlds, the start of the linear worlds. The first 6 days are with the Elohim name, and then the Yud Hey Vav Hey name comes in. So we have two Shems also. B'Shem Allah, two Shems of Yud Hey Vav Hey. And you must understand, in a Derrida sense, the difference. There's a difference entre les deux noms. And in a certain sense, what we do is we live in this difference. We live in the difference between Elohim and Adonai Elohim. And this difference, this gap, is actually the time in what they call Ben Hashemashot, between the suns, especially of the Sabbath day. From sunset to dark. And this gap is what we're really living in. Ben Hashemashot. And it's the same thing in the morning. And if you really want to know, when I'm giving this video, it's the gap between the first light and the appearance of the sunrise and the sun. Ben Hashemashot. And that's the difference in the two starts. Kind of like Erev Shabbos. And this gap, this two starts appears in everything. It appears in Rosh Hashanah because you have 2 days. It even appears in the name Yom HaKippurim because it's Yom HaKippurim, like Purim. So there's a tie-in with everything. And this gap between the idea itself and the fulfillment of the idea is a tunas. Or it's brought down, if you really want to know, as Pesach Sheni, where they say you always have a second chance. And for some reason, I feel motivated to the word death here, because even in death, you have a second chance. You can rectify what happened before. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how exactly this is done. It's a rectification. It's a start again. You see? It's a start again. It's a second name. It's not the Elohim name. It's the Yud Hey Vav Hey name. With the Elohim name. Adonai Hu Ha-Elohim. So on the 23rd of Sivan, for those who are waiting 10 minutes for this and won't be watching it, because whether you know it or not, I bury deep stuff in the cave, in the midst of very long videos. Because in the me-only world, and the world is created for me, you know, this is how I woke up, that it wasn't, you know, whatever it is, hashtag me too, but it's hashtag me only. Because the world is created for me, just like this video is created for me. And if you think that it's created for you, even because last night I was thinking of the concept of love, ahava, and, you know, doing some of the Sufi work and the esoteric Kabbalah work about that my religion is love. Because another word for Kabbalah is love. But in the final analysis, in a me-only world, the only person you love is yourself. And to experience love, it's for you. So in the final analysis, your die before you die, your death is to experience a submission, you know, into this level where you're extinguishing the self to find love that only elevates the self. So when they say my religion is love, and it's a total submission, the real secret is that the dominant is the most submissive. See? To find the true self, one has to be the most dominant, the most submissive. It's me only. To find the true me only, there must be a total annihilation of the me. The annihilation of the me creates the me only. The dominant is the most submissive. When you see a Rebbe or a Zadok, with somebody with a following, say a Rebbe, a Shlita, which means dominant. There's a group of Hasids, and the word Hasid means submissive. But the Rebbe is someone who gives all of his time to this group of submissives. Time of his life. He presents himself as a dominant, as a shlita for these submissives. And in doing so, he's the most submissive of the submissives. So the most submissive of the submissives is the dominant. And this is the same thing. When a person is love, he's submissive. In the true sense, he finds himself through love. Not the other. He doesn't love the other. He only loves himself. It's a hashtag me only under the guise of love. I'm thinking now that even the concept of love at first sight is this concept of me only. Because what happens at love at first sight is that the object causes a love at first sight within me. So is it the object that I'm falling in love with, or falling in love with myself? I'm falling in love with myself. Falling in love with myself. Only in love with myself. So on the 23rd of Sivan, when we write what we want, is this much different than writing on a piece of paper what you want for Christmas? The real secret of the 23rd of Sivan, when you write down, the scribes write down everything that was said. This writing down is the secret. To show the primacy of writing over that of oral. Primacy of the written word. And that's a very deep, deep thing. Because in a certain sense, the written word is before language. It's the letters themselves. It's the symbol, it's the thing. So my symbols written down in my text may be what I'm doing on the 23rd. Because from those symbols and like from those words, look at all this derived from the letter bet. This letter bet, I'm in my house. You know? Under normal conditions, on a weekday, there are 2 meals. Bet. There's 2 of everything. And the 2 of everything are be, rashis. What? Be, Shem, 2 names. I'm going to do more on the first verse of the Quran, on the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Which translates as, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the gracious, the merciful. But both words come from Rachem, which is the womb and means mother. And Rachem actually is a word in Hebrew which is Gematria 248, and That's actually Avraham. And there are two starts. Two chances. And it shows the deep relation of Purim to Pesach. Now, Purim is the foundation of Pesach. Or is it? Or is it the other way around? And this is the real deep issue. That's very difficult to resolve. And these rants coming now, again, they're for me to get to levels which I just expressed here today about the writing on the 23rd of Sivan.